there all the things that are connected, the Internet of Things, things like climate control, smart home equipment, the entertainment center. All these can talk to each other and you can control them through that central hub. And the same is true for things like healthcare, where sensors on the body, etc., can send information to your doctor and they can take decisions. And again, this is the Internet of Things, things speaking to each other, connecting to each other. But we can only do this if we have the computer processing power to be able to handle this information. And that is the big change over the last 5 or 6 years, is that these supercomputers are able to process this information and make sense. In other words, that's what's called artificial intelligence.
So social problems then, examples of social problems. Education or lack thereof, low education rates, higher illiteracy rates in countries. That is an issue that a government would have to address through supporting schools. Housing, social mobility. If there's not enough houses in a country for the population that lives there, the government will step in or should be stepping in to resolve that issue through government-supported schemes to help develop areas into affordable housing. The environment and sort of making sure that pollution levels are appropriate. So, there's lots of cities now, and not just in the UK, but around the world, large cities with lots and lots of cars and buses and sort of factories in them, which have pollution zones. So London is a really good example. In the middle of London, you pay fines for pollution levels. There's a green belt all around the city of London. It's sort of an area of forestry and common land, which the city of London is not allowed to expand out of, just to sort of stop the urbanisation process. And these are, of course, government-led initiatives. Healthcare, that is a big one. The government providing a level of healthcare to people who are ill, people who need that extra support that they maybe wouldn't be able to get elsewhere. And then substance abuse is the other one. So alcohol, drugs, government-supported schemes to help people who are in these sort of situations, and to avoid people from falling into these sort of areas.
The big question, I think this will be quite important to some of the people watching this today. What if I need to take an English language test? Alison, solution, please.
Well, just come to us and we'll provide you with the information of how to have the opportunity to do the test. So the test is called the SWELT test.
Swansea English Language Test.
Yes. So this is very similar to an IELTS, okay? So when you get the result of this, you will have a reading score, a listening score, a writing score, and you will have an overall score. And you will be able to use this certificate to enter the college and to enter the university. Okay?
Exactly. So it's an alternative. Maybe for some reason you can't take the IELTS test. Well, if you are planning to study at Swansea University, and I think that's the important thing, isn't it, Alison? The end point needs to be Swansea University. This is an alternative way of taking a test.
Yes.
Yeah. So if you take the SWELT test, you don't need to take an additional test. So I think we gave the School of Management example. Maybe you need a 6. If you take a SWELT test and get the 6, you're good to go.
Okay. The other thing to let you know is that this particular test is conducted online. So you would do your reading, your listening, your writing, and the speaking exam online. And it only costs £100, but it's free if you're a Swansea University offer holder.
So that means, for example, if you've received a conditional offer, so, if you get this score, you will come onto your course. That's what we mean by a conditional offer. For conditional offer holders, the test is free for your first attempt. But as I say, if you've not received an offer, or maybe you're taking the test again, it's only £100, which I think is very competitive comparing it to other tests.
Definitely.
And as Alison said, it's 100% online. So Alison, I'm in Nigeria. Can I take the SWELT test?
Of course. You apply on our website and we will then register you, and then we will start communicating with you and set you up so that you know everything to do for the test. So it will be via Zoom, and we've been doing this for quite a few years now, so everything runs very smoothly. So what happens is that your reading, writing and listening is done at one time, and then the speaking is done at a separate time, and we organize the speaking with you, so it hopefully helps you with your the time difference.
Exactly. And so, yeah, I think the speaking test is on Zoom, like here. So you would have the interview on Zoom, and we use our learning platform. It's called Canvas to test you with your reading, listening and writing. And that is done together. Now, don't worry, if you're not familiar with the SWELT test, there is a practice, a mock examination, and you can take this before you actually do the real test.
Yes.
It's a good time to sort of, if there's a problem with your computer, by doing the practice test, you can tune everything so that the real test will work perfectly.
Here and list all of the learning outcomes. Here you can see an extensive list. Here, just some of the ones that we've referenced quite a lot, such as presentation skills, group work, planning, etc. So there's employability skills, but some that we haven't referred to very much, such as plagiarism and the consequences. So it's a complete toolkit of how to survive basically your academic journey at Swansea University, at the college. So yeah, I hope by this point, by the time that you've completed this course, there shouldn't be anything that you should not know about or be concerned about, because it's a complete preparation module for year one and beyond.
If, for example, that your schedule is really busy or you don't really want to commit to taking a course every week, that is absolutely fine. We have e-learning courses as well. So this might be something that's more suited to you. These courses are asynchronous. And what that means is that they're not led by a teacher. They don't run at a specific time on a specific day. You can just take this course at your own pace. So all the materials are available online. There is someone monitoring the course on Canvas. So, if you do have questions, you can ask and get support that you need. But this might fit in a little bit more with your schedule. So we are working on building our online courses. We have essential study skills, we have critical thinking, we have a writing course, grammar course. So that might be a different option for you.
As I say, the support services that we offer, adapting to UK life, visas and migration, social events and activities, volunteering, and work during and after study. Okay, so that's the basics of what we do. There is some stuff that you'd probably be best off knowing before you come to the UK as well. It's really good to refer to it once you get here, but we have put together an incredibly in-depth and extensive information guide for you to read. It is around about 50 pages currently, which is a lot of information. So we don't expect you to study it in full, but we'll link to it. It gives you information on things, as I mentioned, like, should I tip in a pub? How do I get a doctor? It's very important that you register in the UK. What about mobile phone networks? What about like getting out and about? Where can I travel? How do I get on trains and things? So this is a really great resource for you to have a look at, to get you prepared for your life here, rather than your academic side, for your entire kind of exterior life. And for those of you who are traveling with families, we absolutely welcome you to bring your dependents, your partners along with you. We're a very family-centric organisation. We love the community that it builds. It's absolutely fantastic. There is a separate guide for you. And one of the main things that I'm going to say is, however well you think you've planned your accommodation, you haven't planned it well enough, as we've learned recently. So we've now compiled a very concise guide to securing, finding appropriate accommodation if you are coming with your family. And again, if you have any questions or queries about travelling with your families, come over, ask us the question, and we will help you.
So let's have a look at the types of numbers we can have. First of all, we imply that there are different kinds of numbers. These different kinds of numbers are for specialized applications. You can't use one where you should be using another. We have cardinals. Cardinal numbers are the ones we do arithmetic with. We can multiply them, we can add them, we can subtract them. They obey the rules of arithmetic. We use them regularly and every day, and we don't think twice about, for example, adding them up. Then there are the ordinals. We use these to record order. They order like first, second, third, fourth. They have that suffix usually with them. They can't be used for calculation. For example, a fourth and a fifth added together do not make a ninth. It just doesn't happen that way. So we've now identified two very different kinds of numbers. So the cardinals can be used for arithmetic, the ordinals just can't.
Anything in this module, we discuss our need to find engineering solutions to provide for our needs without jeopardizing the survival of future generations. This means living sustainably. That's probably a term that you've heard thrown about a lot over the last few years. But what does it mean here? At the moment, many countries use far more resources than can be sustained in the future to maintain their or our way of life. It's been suggested that if everyone on the planet consumed as much as the average United States citizen, 4 Earths would be needed to sustain our population. It's just not possible, which means it is impossible for everyone on the planet to live the same way as a lot of people do in the US, but also here in the UK, in the United Arab Emirates, in France, and in China, and others as well. Worldwide, by August, we will have used up all the ecological resources and environmental services that we would need to use in a year to live sustainably. And that day has been called Earth Overshoot Day. You can actually look it up. After that, we are essentially spending what we call capital. And that day is unfortunately becoming earlier and earlier every year. We are still continuing to use more than we can afford. It's not just the resources that we use, but the ability of the environment to absorb our waste as well. Things like toxic chemicals, our domestic waste, all sorts. In economics, these things are considered externalities. They're considered as having no cost, so we call it free. The environment deals with these things for us for free, when they're not, in fact, free. They do cost us. And this waste disposal just impacts someone else, be that further downstream or later in years to come. So these are all things that we need to consider. As you can see, our consumption of resources outstrips supply, which means we are in essence borrowing from future generations. And if we use everything up, they will have nothing left. So it's our mission to make sure that they have not only something left, but more than enough left.